I guess we're grilling. We were grilling, but now we chilling. We're all done with that, and now we're here at the after party, so to speak. Late night with Scotty P. There you go. Here we go. Okay, so let's just see what we have going on. We'll see what transpires here. Let me stop this, reset that, restart that. So many things to do uh, to keep up with the technology. Yes, the technology. All right, we got people. Hello, Rose. How are you? How are you? How are you? Welcome to the after party. I believe this might be the first time I've seen you in. So, again, I appreciate you coming in. What's on your mind tonight? We're just going to talk about whatever's on people's mind here. Just got done doing the carnival, the cookout there, and yeah, I just want to see what's going on. How you doing? Everything well with you? I trust that it is. And let me do some housekeeping here. You betcha. Okay, yeah, the good old keto cookout. All right. What else we have going? It's Tuesday night. Tuesday night, big Tuesday night. Oh, I'm funny. Oh, thank you very much. I'm just funny looking. No, only kidding. Being a former weatherman, you got to kind of have a little bit of ability to dance there, but I don't know about being funny. Tell me a little bit about your journey here into this whole keto carnivore. What is going on with my computer? Thank you very much. I did not want to do that. You're doing good. I'm glad to hear about that. And what I would like to do now, I'm going to go here, go like this, see if I still remember how to do things. There is the link right there. So when people jump in, they can paste that and come on in. Uh, Ground rules are be cool. Don't be a dork. When anybody who's a dork, it's not appreciated. But never had one yet. Don't expect I will. But you can feel free to come on in and use that link, and you'll come down into the green room, so to speak, and then we can bring you on. If you've never done the live thing, you'll be able to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. This is an opportunity for people to get involved and like putting your feet, like, just putting your toes in and kind of getting to feel the idea of being online like this. But so have you been in the carnivore or the keto community long there, Rose? By the way, that last name, uh, there's a person I know and see on a weekly basis who has the same last name. So my mind is just racing with all of that. And if you have any questions, by all means, please type in a question, and we'll see what's shaking. For everybody else who's dropping in, I appreciate you coming in. It's a wonderful, beautiful Tuesday night. Lots of things to talk about tonight. But before we get too far down the primrose path, what I'd like to do is, of course, have everybody smash the buttons there. And the other thing is to talk about non-scale victories you might have, because you know I think everybody has those one way or another. Like earlier this week, I was able to put on a shirt that was used to be real clingy, and I wouldn't wear it because it showed my bowling ball belly too much. Well, that shirt now just showed me being fat, but not like like that fat, like putting the beach ball up under the shirt. So if you have a non-scale victory that you want to share. Oh, also the belt that I use for my dress pants, the one I had to buy, the bigger one, because I got too big. I got over that 50-inch waist, so I had to move up to the next rack of belts. That's on my last little hole, and the pants I'm wearing are starting to gather, but I'm too cheap to buy any new pants. It's going to be a minute before I buy new pants because I'm cheap. I'm retired. It reminds me of a story. Now, I'm a storyteller, so, no, just my grandpa. He was I say survivor, but he went through the Depression years. And I remember going to see him, and he lived in a mobile home, and he made a lot of money, and he made the money selling mobile homes. So he bought one and he retired in it. And it was so funny because he could have bought any home he wanted to, but that's what he was, in a mobile home. And he had pants, I promise you, that were 40 years old, but they still fit. He's like, why would I? They were serviceable. Why would I throw them away? So anyway, um, I find I'm very much the same way, except my grandpa never had a great big fat problem like I did. So in my wardrobe, I have my current size, my 2B size going up, and my 2B size going down. And then I have another 2BB size going up. And I hope one day 2B down series. And then I have my, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm that fat set of clothes. You know, the elastic bands. And well, anyway, I'm sure some of you know that. And I'm getting down to, I think that by Christmas, I may be able to shop off the rack where normal people shop. Normally, I have to shop like, the Easter Island people, the big heads. Yeah, I got to shop where they shop. I have to do like, what was that from the movie Blindside? Michael Orr. I don't have to go in the big. I have to go big and bigger. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Good to see you. Are you feeling better? I know you were saying you weren't feeling so good. Was that yesterday that you weren't feeling good? Because I saw some more stuff today. You are a prolific poster, and I think that's great. I should do that. I think I'll be happy to stay at my 300 and something subscribers and do this and have fun, because, wow, that's a lot of work. So good on you for doing all that. How you feeling today? You good? I did put the link up there. So if you feel like you want to come in, if you want to dip your toes right in, hey, paste the link into your browser. We'll do it. I'm not afraid of it. We'll do it. And that way you can practice, or you can share. So, on another note, I want to say, wow, what a group of people that they just had there on the Cookout, right? You had Sana. Wow, her story was absolutely compelling. Absolutely compelling. It was amazing to hear how her life was so impacted and what she was willing to do. And then seeing Julia and the energy, oh my gosh, the Venetian cat. That's a Venetian cat, has lots of energy. I would esteem to be like that one day. Hey, Keto Cheeto, how you doing? Welcome to the house of Scotty P with your host, Scotty P. Yeah, not real original, but it's what I have. Of course, I'm Carnivore Scott. Started. Okay, let's go ahead and start throwing some of this up here on the old screen. First, we had Rose Prater coming in. That's, thank you very much, Miss Rose. Then, of course, we have Lisa coming up. Hello. Everybody out there. Yeah. And, of course, then Lisa says, started Saturday night and it's hanging out. Ooh, I'm so sorry. Hopefully you can get rid of whatever got you. And the Keto Cheeto, how you doing, bud? Everything good by you? I trust that you are well, and that everybody here is achieving their short-term goals. Do any of you have micro goals? Like, I have micro goals, like standing things I want to achieve each day. A micro goal. That's pretty cool. Like, I want to make each day, like I bought a diet soda today. Went shopping, didn't have more water in the car. I bought a diet soda. I could tell a funny story about that too, but it's still out on the kitchen table. I didn't drink it. It wasn't working for me. So you're back on track. So that must have meant you were off track. Do you want to share about the off track, or just share about the hip inflammation? Oh, all right. That is good. Man, isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing how a body part you never thought of all of a sudden hurts, and you are like, you are absolutely like, I don't say paralyzed or crippled, but you are so brought to awareness of that, right? Yep. See, get firewood, put up for the winter. Yeah, I need to do that. I've been building and working on putting a fireplace. So 3 years ago, I started that process of building the old pavilion. And the past couple of days, a neighbor of mine who's actually quite capable helped me frame it in. Now tomorrow I need to go buy some Durarock, and I'm going to put tile. What are your thoughts about that? I'm going to put some tile up instead of like stacked stone or something like that. Since it's outside, we're in the South here. Things I have to deal with are bugs, and more bugs, and mildew. And I don't want to encourage cracks and crevices for nests. I'm outside of Huntsville, Alabama, North Alabama, 90 miles south of Nashville, and 90 miles north of Birmingham, out here in the greater Hazel Green, Alabama, not Greenbow, Alabama, but Hazel Green. Greenbow, Hazel Green, you get it. Little slice of heaven I like to refer to as 100-acre woods. Only it's not 100 acres. I don't even have any woods. I've got a little tree out front, got 2 little trees in the back. Oh, that's it. No biggie do. But we get a little bit of winter. Sometimes we'll get down as much as single digits. More often than not, we're probably going to have lows in the 30s and highs in the 40s. You know, a great fireplace weather. So that's why I have it. All right. So, I got you. I know. I'll take Chattanooga towards I-75. I got you. Matter of fact, I'll probably go over here and pick up the old map, the Google Mapper. That way, kind of idea. I'll take a looky there. I was an Air Force weather guy for a long time, so I should be somewhat capable on. So, are you near Athens? Is that where you're about? Athens, Charleston, Etowah? Yep. All right. Okay. You do trees now and then when I can. Cool. Hey, Joe, it's a story. How you been? You been to Huntsville and vacation Gunnersville? Oh, that's a cool place. Yep. Huntsville, Alabama, the missile or the Rocket City. There we go. Riceville, Tennessee. All right. I'm looking at Tennessee. I know. I see Farragut. I always drive through Farragut. My son-in-law played baseball, and I always had to play against Farragut. And so, yeah, Riceville, Tullahoma, White, Pikeville, Evansville, Dunlap, Etowah, Terrell Plains, Asheville, North Carolina. Now learn how to read a map there, Air Force. Well, there's a lot of trees up there, so I'm sure you can stay in trees. So, Joseph, did you go fishing out there in Lake Gunnersville, or was it just a vacation? Weatherman, only job you can be wrong. That's right. Except I went from being a weatherman to an ice cream man, from an ice cream man to a politician. And that weather bill thing, that weather stuff was absolutely critically important to being a successful politician. That's right. Yep. Just to stay for a week with some friends. Very cool. Yeah. It's a beautiful area, you know. A lot of people don't know how hilly and I say hilly it is here in North Alabama. I was pretty surprised by it when I came here from Nebraska. But as you might imagine, coming from Nebraska, the hills around Gunnersville were mountains to me. So I gotta be honest with you, that was quite the change of pace for me, you know. But Gunnersville's really nice. We got a lot of nice lakes out there. Of course, none of them they're all man-made, and all the TVA stuff there. So you have Gunnersville, then you have all the water from the Tennessee River backed up there. So plenty of good ones, plenty of good impoundments for water, for fishing, and for having fun. So, all right, where to go here? Just stay for a week. Friends, politics, how's that environment? It is easier to be in combat. No, that's too much. That's too tongue in cheek. It's not a great environment. overall, not great. But one of the things I can definitely say about it is there were aspects of it that were absolutely amazing. To be in a position to where you can really help people, where you can pick up a phone call and go, yeah, this is blah, 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 blah. Can you please tell me why this person is going through this situation? I mean, especially when you call from one government office to another government office, you can really be effectual if you work with people and have good relationships. You pick up the phone, you bubbly bump, and then you can make that call, and you can shorten the timeline sometimes. Not all the time. I mean, certain things have life cycles. You have to respect the life cycle, but many times there's some wiggle room. Does that make any sense? So if you can work within the wiggle room, then you can get great things done and really be um, a positive net effect on people's lives. We I think we too often get caught up in trying to be a global sense of effectiveness, and very few people have that global effectiveness. But everybody can be pretty effective if they limit their field of fire. So partly cloudy, yeah, partly cloudy. Sometimes it's stormy. I think the hardest part about politics is realizing no one will always be your friend. And that's just the way. Just the way it is. Oh, you a flat earth sort of guy? Okay, coolio. Everybody's got to be something, right? But one thing about politics is you have to get thick skin, and you have to realize a lot of people come at things from different vectors, Victor, and you have to respect the process. You won't always get what you want. Always getting what you want is a dictatorship. I don't like them dictators. Just saying. So, how about that, Joseph? What and Joseph's story? I got a question for you. I knew a guy who went by the last name of Story. He worked in the movie business. Just saying. Um, I want to say he did a lot with the camera and lighting, but I'm not sure. But do you all have some other type things that you've been winning with here lately in your journey, or whether it's a keto or carnivore or whatever you're doing? Anything particular that leaps out for you to say, hey, this is what's really been working for me? Or I guess on the flip side, what hasn't been working for you? Like I was reading and watching one individual's video today, and they commented, and it was kind of funny. They commented about how they pigged out on uh, um, pork rinds. I thought that was funny. They used the word pigged out on pork rinds, and it didn't work out real well. I think there was some gastrointestinal fortitude issues that happened. All right, let's go ahead. I never could figure out how all that water around Australia could be held up, yet kangaroos can still jump. Yeah, there's always some type of burning question, like the platypus. Riddle me that. That's a good one. The platypus too. I mean, an egg-laying mammal. How's that working out, right? There are plenty of questions out there. Like, what's the difference between a duck? Well, one of its legs is the same. Just saying. Didn't know we were going to vaudeville, did we? Outside of that, a few topics today. I saw a topic today from one guess carnivore, and that question came to something about haters. Haters be hating, right? And God said, "Wham!" That's right, whammo, platypus. Figure that one out. Um, the way this individual, and I'm trying to be discreet on purpose, because sometimes people don't want to be talked about. But anyway, the question was talked about haters, how haters hate, and my response back to that comment was, well, first of all, yes, haters hate. We know that, right? But more importantly, is that how often do we join the haters club? Think about that. When we're out of shape, out of condition, out of health, when we're diseased, and we're a lot of people will talk about in the ketogenic space, or particularly in the carnivore space. So what's that? Did that guitar work? Oh yeah, that guitar works real well in someone else's hands. I'm just trying to learn how to play. I can bang out 4 or 5 chords, but I've had that guitar since 1999. I've had this guitar for about, I don't know, 11 years. And I got 4 or 5 chords. That's about it. That's it. It's a hobby more than anything else. Yeah. But the issue about haters hating, in particular, like, let's say you're in a family and your family members are hating on you for your dietary change, or you accord yourself. I got that. Yeah. I can do an F chord, the bar chord, second position. I can get to a regular first position F, but after that, we're getting kind of crazy. But your family, your coworkers, some friends, they're going to be hating on you, right? Today I was at the commissary, and I doubt that they're 4 or 5 chords ahead of you, Lisa. Nah. I know. I got you, brother. I got you, Keto. 4 or 5 chords. But the issue is that when you do this radical lifestyle change, people are going to be coming up against you. But the question I posed to Miss, I'll give her name, Shelly365. I love to follow her stuff. Tremendous story. If you're not following Shelly365, you're missing out on a good opportunity of someone who's come through the fire and still remembers the heat, the day-to-day hand-to-hand combat. And I posed the retort that, yes, haters are going to hate. We got that, And we also know that hurt people hurt people. But one of the things I asked her was, were you on board and part of the hate type thing? So I think a lot of people have some self-loathing, don't you? Don't you think that people realize that they're not where they want to be? I mean, that's why we're in this. We most of us came to a point, whether we're at the end of our rope, at the end of the knot, or whatever your saying is going to be. For me, like I said in the cookout, it was my belly hurting, flopping over my belt buckle. Well, so when we consider the haters, are we considering ourselves? And where are we now? With mental clarity, the brain fog lifted up, all those buzzwords we use in the community. Maybe looking at that mirror and realizing that we were sometimes our own worst enemies, that we were beating ourselves up. I can't tell you the number of times I've heard back here a little chirping bird saying, you can't do it. You've never got it done before. You've never been successful. This can't work. This is too radical, right? Right. That's the problem. Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, I agree with you. I agree with you. This diet is incredibly important. So was it your heart that was really critically inflamed, or what's going on with your heart there, brother? I know that. I know that it's well, we all know the heart's an important organ, and if we damage it through inflammation, right, then that's not going to work either, right? Hey, I don't have no idea why I picked that up. Maybe I should play it as a threat. I'll play this guitar until someone types something in the comment. No, I wouldn't do that to you. So, yeah, we don't give ourselves the grace we give someone else. And you know what? That is so absolute. So palpitations, huh, brother? Hip inflammation. Yeah, palpitations, no energy. I get it. I get it. Hey, look, I was just last week. I went to the doc to give up some blood. I'm a VA patient, and I got back my numbers. And what I did is I put all my numbers on a piece of paper. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 years of information. And the idea being is everything's looking pretty good, to be honest with you, except for some reason, my white blood cell count is up. My red blood cell count is down, as is my hemoglobin and my hematocrit. My hemoglobin and my hematocrit are taking a vacation. I don't know what's going on. Them and them WBCs, they headed for the hills. Well, actually, RBC went to the hills. The WBCs, they came out of hiding. I guess them WBCs coming out the closet now, don't you think? That's right. However, my HbA1cs were good. I like that. And my insulin seemed to be pretty doggone good, too. My HOMA IR, though, I don't know about that HOMA IR. My HOMA IR is 2.8. We want that to be under 2. No, excuse me. My HOMA IR is 1.4. So my HOMA IR is good. However, my triglycerides to HDL, they weren't so good. But I know why my triglycerides were not good. See, my VA doctor told me that I could go ahead and get a blood test in the middle of the day, and it wasn't a fasting blood test. I think they tricked me. If I had gone in fasting, I bet you my triglycerides would have been under 100. Normally, when I do that, my triglycerides are around 70 something. But the night before, I went and put my food bag on, and we went to Texas de Brazil, and I ate good. I had to have no less than 3 pounds of meat. I even ate lamb. Did not like the lamb. I had a picanha lamb or whatever. No bueno. Did not like it. No, I did not like it. Sam, I am. But I had everything else. I ate me a lot of beef. A couple sausages. A lot of beef. But all my other numbers seem to be good. They're all trending. My glucose was, even after eating all that, and I had my coffee in the morning, and I had the the butter in the coffee, and I like adding cocoa butter to my coffee. Makes it smell just like hot chocolate. I like hot chocolate. Chocolate is really good. I like chocolate. And so I did the hot chocolate coffee thing, and I eat about, I don't know, a pound of butter a week. I easily eat a pound of butter a week. I may eat 1.5 pounds, but I go through about half a stick to a stick every day. So 7 sticks. Yeah, I go through a pound and a half of butter each day. And when I make hamburger patties, I pour all the fat onto the hamburger patty. I like that. Hey, it's Lucia Young. How are you? No, my WB, my white blood count is high, and yeah. So, but I mean, I don't know. See, my WBC is 6.1, and I think 6 was a cutoff. I don't know. It always gets me in these blood tests when they talk about, well, the desired range is to be between 50 and 100, but we really don't get worried until it's 4,000. Like the ALT, AST. I used to think, because with the fatty liver and all that, I thought with the ALT and AST, the AST ALT ratio, right? But I thought with those numbers, that man, I got to be real careful here, right? Then I realized, so like my ALT is 27, my AST is 23. I'm like, you don't get no better. You're not gonna get better, right? But when it was a little bit more elevated, then the doctor said, no, we only worry when it gets like 1,500 or 2,000. I'm like, I don't understand how they do Kentucky windage in medicine. That's for doggone sure. All right, I had a steak and burger, but I had 2 meals, cramps, diarrhea. Oh, yes. I don't know how long you've been back into it and you said earlier getting back on the wagon, so to speak. But yeah, electrolytes are highly important, particularly now, because what most people don't realize there, boss, is that when you eat meat, or let me back up. So I'm sure everybody here has heard of a colostomy bag, right? I.e., you're getting replumbed. You can't use the normal transit route. They've got you a detour, and the detour is a bag on your colon based on where it's at in your digestive tract is the name of it. Because you can have a colostomy bag. You can have an ileostomy bag. So wherever your plumbing hookup is where they put the bag. And what I have read is there has never been a time when there's been a piece of meat found in a bag. Vegetable matter, of course, because we can't digest cellulose, but not meat. See, all your meat, once it goes into past the valve of the stomach into the duodenum, and then from the duodenum into your small intestines, it's liquefied. And when you have liquid and all we eat is liquefied, all the liquefied goodness, the chyme, 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 all the chyme travels all the way through your small intestines, all your villi going, hello, 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 hello. And the villi are filtering, oh, hello, filtering. And then it goes on, and then it gets past all that, and it goes up into the colon, to the ascending colon. It works its way up the ascending colon. Then it goes on a little thing across on the transverse colon, and they go up and woo. And all that time, all the moisture, the biliary salts, all that good stuff is reabsorbed, and there's nothing there. That's why it's a little different. But when you're brand new to the diet, that transitory time can be quite quick, because your bowel lining is going, what is going on in here? And there you go. All right, we got some more folks. Let's go ahead. Hold on there, Air Force. Let's go. VA drew my blood this morning. Yep, that's what my VA is doing. Me too. We're going to have to talk more about this, brother. We'll talk more. You are right. No way. Yeah, my CBCs are off. Yeah, I don't know. It could be any one of a number of things. It could be my asthma is kicking out. Type 2 diabetes. Yeah, you go. Hello, Sandra. Welcome to the house of Scotty P, a.k.a. Carnivore Scott, a.k.a. After Party, a.k.a. Late Night. Try to do this Monday through Thursday. Try not to step on other people's live events. And it's a place where we all can kind of come in and hang out and do cool things. And matter of fact, gotta make sure. Hold on there, Air Force. Bada boom, bada bang. There's a link. When you want to come in, you hit the link, you go to it. I'll see you pop up in the green room, and away we'll go. All right. So, here we go. Jardiance. Oh, that's a medication for sure. Jardiance. Hey, Keto Cheeto, I know you must know this, but you've gotten Dr. Jason Fung's information. I went to Dr. Jason Fung's site. He's one of the first people, not the only, but in the first 10 people that I really was reading. I bought his books, read his books, and I loved it. Definitely loved it. All right, yeah, definitely liquid. We're good with that. We're going to keep on moving. Was calcium normal? I don't know. I didn't write down calcium, but yes, I looked at everything, and everything was between the right and left bumpers. The only things wrong, not between the left and right bumpers, my RBC, my hemoglobin, and my hematocrit were down, and my white blood count is up a little bit, but everything else was, my lymphs were up. My lymphs were at 47, so that's a little bit like 3% over the 44. But that would make sense. There's something going on, and my body's trying to work on it. Doc's going to talk to me tomorrow. I got the big thing. Yep, there you go. We got that. Let's go with this. You haven't watched him much? Yeah. Well, he had a really, really good book, and this Dr. Jason Fung. If I find you, I'll watch. I'm way too scared to be carnivore famous. You won't be famous on here, trust me. This is not where all the fame hangs out, right? I mean, I'm not. That's not right for me to say, but I'm just saying here we're just some regular folk grinding it out, just grinding it out, lifting each other up, bouncing ideas off of each other. Trying to be supportive for one another, coming alongside each other. Right? But yeah, Dr. Fong, he's a nephrologist. He's the guy who a lot of type 2 diabetic patients see later on in their life as they're not in control. And what Dr. Jason Fung did is he did a lot of common sense thinking, and he basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, stop putting all that stuff in your pie hole. And so he's the one who really brought intermittent fasting to a forefront with science. And I remember when I went from the standard American diet to doing what he said about intermittent fasting, and I threw ketogenic diet because I was following Dr. Stephen Phinney, Phinney, and Dom D'Agostino, and the people from like Low Carb Down Under, Low Carb Breckenridge. You got Dr. Bickman and those folks. When I started doing the keto with intermittent fasting, I took my triglycerides from almost 400 down to 72. And what Dr. Fung did is he got people who were taking anywhere between 80 to 100 units of insulin a day for the past 10 to 20 years. And he got most of them off their insulin in 30 days. 30 days. So, big fan of that. Let's see. Oh, Lucia says, yes, make sure they follow. Oh, they're going to follow up tomorrow. We're going to be on like a bagel and a bologna sandwich. Until we meet again. Hello from New Mexico, week 9 of carnivore. If you haven't seen, by the way, until we meet again, I was born in New Mexico. I was born in White Sands, New Mexico. And my 2 boys were born in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was raised in El Paso, and my grandparents lived for a long time in Truth or Consequences in New Mexico. So I got to New Mexico covered right there. New Mexican. Matter of fact, I shouldn't do it, but I've got a Zuni bird. Just saying. Yeah, I'm afraid about the leukemia. My neighbor has leukemia right over there. And our good friend from church has leukemia. And I know I don't want leukemia. I've been dealing with that for a bit. Wife just got me Dr. Big Book Carnivore Diet. Yeah, a lot of info. That's cool. Are you saying that? Well, I am, Lisa. I am. Matter of fact, at church, just this last weekend, I finally stopped. But for the last 5 years, I have been the Sunday school leader for the Island of Misfit Young Men. Young men who fell through the cracks, don't fit in any other class. Half of them are autistic, and they need a place to go. And I was the guy, and I did it. But my wife wants me to go back to service with her, And after all these years, I have agreed, and I've got a person to take over the class. But yeah, Island of Misfit Carnivores. I guess that's if the shoe fits. I guess we got to wear it, right? Sandra went from low 20 to 38 degrees. Yeah, air cons, right? Yeah. Oh, 8 meat at 4:30 this morning. Summer going to be a drag cooking meat. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that. I'm gonna tell you what. I did not want to use my grill here in Alabama. And by the way, Sandra, welcome. I did not want to use my grill this summer in the hot, humid Alabama. No, did not. No, I did not. No, I did not. So I use a lot of crock pots, and I use the like toaster oven, doohickey, air fryer. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Keto Cheeto saying I visited to a church down that direction, Broken Arrow Pentecostal. Okay, Pentecostal church. That'll keep you awake. You won't fall asleep in a Pentecostal church for sure. Your humor lives on. Yay! All right, that's what matters. You gotta have some fun with it. Hello there, Greg. How are you? Good to see you, my friend. I owe you back an email response. The word is yes. I've been caught up in a lot of things, and some of the things have gotten quite challenging. Not for me, but for the people I'm working with, and so I've got to watch. And I'm going to go on a vacation this weekend. Yay! I'm going on vacation. I'm going to go down to the Gulf Shores. That's going to be awesome. We're going to go down there. We've got a little rental house, and we're going to take the dogs. We've never taken the dogs with us. So we're taking the dogs, and it's going to be interesting, to say the least. Oh, yeah, I get it. There you go. Well, you got to be equally yoked, but you were raised Seventh-day Adventist, so does that mean that we're now Russ from Homesick Buckeye educated a lot of people on that one. Not every Seventh-day Adventist is a vegan, so that was really good. But if you're raised Seventh-day Adventist, that going to a Pentecostal church could be different. All right, no worries. Okay, cool. I like that. No worries. What kind of dogs I got? Well, I got the four-legged kind. No, I've got the cross between Australian Shepherd and Blue Heeler. And they're, I guess, I hate to think they're miniature. They weigh about 20, 22 pounds. When they're the regular size Blue Heeler and Australian Shepherd, they call them Texas Heelers. These dogs will run all day long. Well, at least one of them will. One takes after more like her mama, but the one that takes after her daddy, they're both from the same litter. One has the desired outcome looks. The other one, not so much, but we bought them because they're dogs and we wanted them. We don't work them. So you gotta get. Oh, you're gonna get you got a lab Weimaraner. Wow, a lab and a Weimaraner. So the lab can kind of maybe calm down the Weimaraner, but Weimaraners are also fast dogs. So I had a lab Dalmatian mix, and we weren't sure what we had. We had a very lithe lab, and we had a very buff Dalmatian. And Bandit was about 80 pounds, and he was in great shape. Yep. Needy. Roger that. Ever do a Baton Death March at White Sands? No, I was born there. That's enough of a death march. Now, I know the ones you're talking about. I've often thought of maybe trying to do that once I get back into shape, but we'll have to wait to see. I mean, I'm 61 now, and that's a pretty tough one. But having grown up there, a lot of people don't know, at least for a long time. I don't know if it's true today, but when I was growing up, El Paso, Texas had the largest concentration of Filipinos that weren't on the coast. We had a lot of Filipinos, and I ate a lot of pancit. Oh my God. I ate my body weight in pancit and hatch green chili, mind you. And some of the men I knew as a young man were in and on that Bataan Death March. And these were some tough people. And they ate some tough food. 1,000-year egg, it was black. And then they fished the whole fish, the eyes, and the fish had been fermented and cooked in something else. And I didn't eat that. I ate the lumpia and the pancit. Always safe to eat the lumpia and the pancit. Yep. So you got spoiled carb addiction. Yeah, roger that. Lucia says, if you do, holler. My daughter and I will be there. All right. Have you done it before, Lucia? I'm thinking you're saying you have. Oh, by the way, everybody, please feel free to go into the comments and evangelize your channel and let people know what you do and where you do it. So I have no problem with that. We're good. Until we meet again, I think your pueblo. Okay. Hatch green chili, but my health is more important. Yeah, I get it. I get that. I every once in a while I'll have a little jalapeno. I'll do a little jalapeno because it agrees with me. It's like I tell people and they laugh at me, but it's like mother's milk, you know? My father believes that for sure. But yeah, I've definitely love my Hatch green chili, but I haven't had it in a long time. But I was in El Paso in May. I would go back to help my father. My father's a veteran. He's 88, gonna be 89, and there were some things that weren't working right, and I went back there to fix a couple of things. You know, a son should go back and take care of his father. One veteran should go take care of another veteran. That's my feeling. And so I went back and I did what I had to do, and it got fixed. Trust me. But I wanted to give him some Hatch green chili. And one time I asked my dad. I said to my dad, will you send me some green chilies? He said, sure, I'll do it. Well, he went up to the local. You know how during the green chili season. And if you don't know this, everybody, I'm sorry, but it's a thing. The green chili, the guy would be out in front of the store, like in front of the Albertsons or in front of the grocery store, big drum, and he's roasting green chilies. And you can buy a box or a bushel or a number of pounds of fresh roasted Hatch green chili, and it just smells so good. It's like if you smell burning leaves or burning certain burning woods like juniper or something like that, you can just the fragrance of something. Or if you go and buy a steak joint and you smell steaks cooking, well, there's a very distinct smell associated with roasting green chilies. Anyway, my dad went and bought some. He took them home. He ate some. He waited a day or two or three. And then he put them back in the burlap bag and he put them in a box. And he sent them like on a slow boat to me. When they got to me, they were pretty foul with lots of green stuff growing on them. But I picked out the worst and kept 2 or 3 good ones, ish. But I'm still missing out on it. I really do want mine. Yep. But okay, so let's go back, catch up on comments. If I ate it, I couldn't be carnivore anymore. If you had to eat that, well, yeah, that's the whole idea. Carnivore is a big thing when you think about it. Happy holidays, okay? I got to be honest with you. Carnivore is really a pretty big thing. I always tell people, if it had a mother or had a face, or it's a byproduct of something that had a mother or had a face, I can eat it. Kind of dumb it down to this lowest common denominator for me. My daughter and a friend have, but I'm retired, so can do this March. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm retired now too, completely retired. I left the workforce. That's right. Cattle dogs, cool. Yeah, they are very cool, but they gotta run. Lucia said, you lived in El Paso, 95 to 99. Were you out at Fort Bliss then? Are you a Fort Blister type? I'm just going out on a limb. 95. Let's see, in 1995. I wasn't there, but in 1990, okay, so January 1st of 1997, my mother passed away out at William Beaumont Hospital. She had cancer. And we buried her on January 3rd. Gosh, it was cold that day, like 17 degrees. So I was there in 97. This was the last time I was there before too much. Let's see. All of La Cruces. Yeah, I know, huh? I know. I love it. Love me some Las Cruces. Until yes, they will start real soon. They have a good in Walmart. I'm gonna have to stay away. Oh, you were vegan and healing. Yeah, steak smells good too. That's right. You know, I'm referring to the 100-year-old eggs. Oh, I get that 100-year-old eggs. You know, the funny thing was, and I say, okay, we'll do it again, brother. Take care. Hey, and my email is in my about me. It's carnivorescott@gmail. Feel free to email me anytime if you want to chit chat about anything, you know, veteran stuff or otherwise. All right, brother. Take care of yourself. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. Oh my, he's on 9-inch depending on other lives. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Did I miss something? Oh. Okay, but okay, you're letting Keto Cheeto know. All right, hey, thanks, Greg. But you know, the thing I was talking about the whole carnivore tent, the carnivore tent is a big tent. So I think we could do that. And I agree with you, Meet again, about until we heal. And one of the things I was talking about earlier is, well, not earlier today, but in the previous days diatribe, is that healing doesn't equate to a number on the scale. Would you agree with that? That healing is so much more global, and that just because we get close to a number doesn't mean we're healed. And even though I've got all the paperwork and, you know, all that numbers, I know that if and when I get to my weight, I know that I'm getting close to healing. I get that. And particularly when my visceral fat, that visceral adipose tissue is diminished significantly, I'll be healing. But once I get to I don't know how to say it any better, a healed zone, like a zone of healing. You know, we have the zone of force, we have the zone diet, we have the green zone. But when I get down to a zone of healing, I'm going to have to reside there for a period of time. It's not like, hey, I weigh 225 pounds and my waist is down to 38 inches. I can go right back to eating all the foods I ate before, like cake and ice cream and chocolate and potatoes by the pound. I can't. I also know that once I go back to any type of reintegration, you know, that reintegration into general population, eating carbohydrates, not just sugars, but I mean like the starchy vegetables and all that, I'm going to be insulin resistant for a period of time. I'll be seeing the spikes. So, you know, hey, I got a question for you, Lucia. I don't know. Are you taking questions? Hello? Hello? McFly? Here's my question. Are you a previous medical field employee, or are you just super fascinated with all this medical stuff? I was, again, let's see, I worked in a Army medical facility for a number of years, 4 years, as a data quality manager, not as a medical provider. Nothing I say constitutes medical guidance. I didn't stay in a chain hotel overnight. Okay. I in active duty, I did some of the medical stuff we have to do back when I was in. I was one of a few people that did the combat lifesaver thing, but I think everybody does that now. Oh, you were working at UTEP, Reserve Arizona National Guard out by Chaparral. Yeah. Oh, Air Force Reservists. Okay, cool. Ah, I get it. Yeah. Well, I'm retired Air Force, so thank you. What type of career field were you in? Yeah, and UTEP. I went to UTEP a couple of times, and I was telling people one time I was able back in 1979 to go to high school and UTEP at the same time, and I would play each other off each other because they didn't have a lot of people doing that. Not a lot of kids were doing that, and I was playing basketball, i.e., skipping class, playing basketball, drinking beer, and chasing women. Turned out drinking the beer and chasing the women and playing basketball, I wasn't good at any of those. And ergo, I wasn't good in the school either. So anyway, I went to UTEP at least 3 separate times, enrolling, disenrolling, enrolling, and disenrolling. Eventually, I went to El Paso Community College to get enough credit hours to get into the Air Force at the E3 level. Woohoo! And anyway, so yeah, been there, done that, got the T-shirt for it. Minor, forever, you betcha. DC, learning to live. I haven't found a limit to healing as yet. Well, no, I don't think there's a limit to healing. That's not what I don't think I'm thinking. But hey, by the way, DC, welcome to the house of Scotty P. I'm your host, Scotty P. No, I mean more like when we get to something maybe it was an ideal I had in my head, and maybe it was a misnomer. But from a position of dis-ease, I have this idea that healing looks, I have an idea what healing looks like. And when I got to that place, I was thinking if I could camp out there long enough, I could intelligently reincorporate some more general population food items into my diet, not going back to the sad, but hey, when in season, have some berries, have a couple of nuts. I'm not allergic to them. I think that there are optimal foods and less optimal foods. When my body's healed, maybe I could have some of those less optimal foods. I don't know. It was an idea. I could totally be wrong. Michael said, Scott, George Carlin, I wish George Carlin, that dude was genius. And no, I'm not. FNP, RN, family nurse practitioner, right? RN since 93. That's why you got all that medical stuff going in. I got you now. All right. FNP, okay. Family nurse practitioner. Nurse practitioner, am I wrong? I wanted to go to nursing school when I thought about going to nursing school when I retired from the service. And I found out it was easier to get elected to be a state senator than it was to be accepted to nursing school. Just saying. I don't know. It's the way it was. Healing benefits of carnivore weight loss. Right. 9 weeks in, and your neuropathy. So is this neuropathy type 2 diabetic, or is there another nexus or another reason for your neuropathy? Because that's no joke. That neuropathy, people don't understand how absolutely dangerous. Psych NP, been in healthcare. Okay, I got it. A psych NP. All right. Now all of a sudden I'm nervous. No, I get it. My daughter is a counselor, and she has decided that at this junction in her life, the counseling that she has her, I guess, an MS and some type of counseling, and she has specialties in trauma counseling for children and for veterans and stuff like that. And she decided that she's going to pull out, go into coding and billing for a while, and help raise. She has 3 young children, and she's going to focus on that more because that's really important to her at this point. DC is saying, yes, why not? Caveman ate free. Yeah, that's my point. I was thinking about Dr. Paul Saladino, right? Of course, we know he eats a lot of fruit and honey. And he is thriving. I mean, the guy is buck wild strong and crazy active. But he's also, crazy active and strong, so and much healthier. I think for when we're unhealthy, I think that's what Others are saying too, right? Meat Again is saying as well, is that when we're unhealthy, we have to really be careful. So if we were to make a distribution curve, the old bell curve, ring a bell, ring my bell, ring my bell. Okay, we're back. When we look at distribution underneath that, when you start out on that left-hand side of the curve, a little bit of change yields, a little bit of effort yields a lot of change. Then as you get into orders of magnitude to the other side, well, lots and lots and lots of effort to get a little bit of change. Well, I think in a health way, when we're really unhealthy, we really have to be practically dogmatic to get back to underneath the curve to the other side where we could be like where Dr. Paul Saladino is, where we could be maybe a little more liberal and eat the in-season foods. So that's how I look at it. Yeah. All right. Let me look here. Let me look where we're at here. All right. No, they came in. Yep. Psych. Yeah, I get it. And I had a psychology teacher. My very first psychology told me, the best thing that we could do as students is, one, don't talk to him about it. Two, go find a friend and talk to a friend. And I thought about that, and I still think about that. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. No, I think to myself, say to myself, that's why I think this is really important. This communication modality we have and the friendships. I was amazed. My son, is really into gaming. He made lots of friends online. And I was like, how can you make a friend online? That's not real. And my heart ached for him. Then one day I went to visit him. He was active duty. I went to him, and Mom and I, we went to his dorm room. He walked into the dorm room. He opened his door, and as soon as he did, his systems came up, and he had the place wired up. And people, hey, buddy, hey, how you doing? They're calling out to him, I was like, what's this? Oh, that guy's in Japan. This person's over in Germany. This person's in wherever they were, and they were engaging. I was like, maybe I need to rethink this. Maybe the stereotypes I have in my mind aren't correct. And then it made me think about pen pals. Do you all remember pen pals at all? And I see you had pre-diabetes. Oh, yep. Oh, you had the neuropathy in both your hands, arms, and shoulders. Ooh, that is no bueno. I'm glad that's getting better. I can't imagine I'm missing half a thumb. I don't know about not having my digis. Not having my digis would probably send me over the edge. But my son made me think about this. And so I ruminated on it, for a while. And then I got involved and started doing another complete different platform. And I got to be having a relationship with people. And I remember I knew I was having these feelings, friendship feelings for someone, when one person didn't show up. Now imagine that. You come out here and you get used to seeing my bright and smiling countenance out here, just making a fool of myself, having a good time, and you get used to it. So you come back and you come back and you come back. Or I go to people, Homestead, Howe, and Carrie, and whatever, and one day I don't show up. And it happened, and I was literally tore up. Come on, Willis, what you talking about, Willis? Right? And it really made me think that hey, Lucia, you could feel free to chime in here, but what are the ingredients? What are the tenets of what a friendship is, or a relationship? Maybe I should use the word relationship, because I'm not really able to put a cogent statement together about these types of things. I can do the layman's, i.e. what I experience, what a friend is, right? Somebody you care about, somebody you sacrifice for, somebody who you listen to them, that you're present for, that you sacrifice for, that you share with, that you build with, that you when you have to be compassionate, you're compassionate. Empathy, your empathy is there, right? Those types of things. Shared experiences, shared values, all those things wrapped up into, I guess, what makes a friend. And then here we are. Here we are, sharing, commiserating, um, showing that we're listening by throwing things in the chat or going to someone's video and going into the comments and doing it, right? It's like, wow. Like I deal with that with with my children. You know, I have neighbors, and we have what we call our adopted children, who listen to what we say, inquire about our well-being, and remember what we were talking about, right? It's like I have a closer relationship with some people that I want to have with my children, but they're still growing, they're doing their thing. I get it. But I thought about it. I said, I don't suspect then that proximity is as big a factor in developing relationships as I used to hold it to be. Yeah. Small world, here we are, right? All right. Oh yeah, the carnivore community I think is an excellent community, very proactive to network, and a really good. Right. Oh, thank you so much. You're very nice. You're very kind. Thank you. Um, I found myself not really thriving in making long form videos. I like this. I like this a lot. I think that's why I liked being in the weather career field, when I had to talk to people all the time about weather in the military. And then being an ice cream guy, owning my own ice cream shop, that was great. I have a lot of fun. Ice cream, we got it. You want it, ice cream. And these are people standing in a line in front of me. I like that. And then getting into politics and going out and mixing it up with people, I really like most of that. And I was thinking of whiteboarding things, and I'm retired now. And it's like, woohoo, I'm retired. Yay. Now what do I do? And with some physical issues, I can't do everything I wanted to do. I don't have the strength and all the neural capacity. I started literally writing it down, and I said, well, okay. I like to talk. I know, hard to believe. I like to talk. I have a lot of stories. I am cognizant. What is that saying? It says, some people have to say things, and some people have things that need to be said. I'm in the former, not in the latter. I try to be, but but I love to do it. So here I am. And I decided to do this late night thing as just an impromptu, ad hoc. What's the other word that they like to use? Improvisational, like an improv thing, where we can just all meet together, hang out, share some ideas, and talk about what's important to ourselves. So, no, I thank you for being here. And you're always welcome at any time if you want to come up. Again, I throw the link out there. Some people, some nights they come on. One night I was on here with another nurse, and she and I spent about 4 hours, and we are actually doing some research together, reading some articles about I don't know if we would call it epigenetic effects of fats on cellular activity and the cellular energy model. And so it was quite interesting I don't understand half those words. I read them, so they stuck to my head. But I couldn't draw out the Krebs cycle for you right now. I'll be honest with you, But, you can do some stuff. I believe. Did you all remember or see the movie Lorenzo's Oil? You took people off meds. You have nutrition. You have the neuroplasticity. So let me ask you, Lucia, are you familiar with Dr. Shankoff? Dr. Shankoff, maybe University of Chicago and UNC, some of the profs have multiple schools. Well, I don't know if you know Dr. Shonkoff. Let me know if you do. Fascinating information. There's a lot to be said. Some give the time and attention to other. Well, true. I mean, I am not going to be a person that can really like liven it up and do the bozo the clown. Hey, how's about you? What are you doing? Blah 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 blah. But we can exchange, and I like that. And Lisa, you know, I go out there, and if I watch something, I'm watching it for all the way, and I'm gonna try to put comments in and let you know that I did. And because if you took the time to craft it and put it out, I think it's important enough to watch and respond. Now, I don't have 24,000 followers or 2.4 million followers, so that's going to be scaled and be a completely different thing. But I'm not banking today on what may happen tomorrow. That's where I am. So it's a really positive time, like going to friends. That's right. And just being, that's right. I think we all need that opportunity, maybe to let our hair down, figuratively, obviously. As a matter of fact, I am getting kind of long haired. I'll be taking that down. I don't like it when it gets too long. It looks like someone stapled hamsters to my head, and they didn't cover it all. So it's not good for the hamsters. It's not good for me, and I do need to shave. Getting kind of shaggy, but I think it's important that we have places, and everybody has a place, and that we can all talk about whatever the soup du jour is, And in the carnivore community, there's a lot of that. And one thing that came out today, and I talked about earlier, so for those who were here earlier and you hear it again, but the question came up from Shelley's Life 365. She was talking, a lady from Canada. She's enjoyed a tremendous weight loss, and she had to take NLP-1. She's very open about her hormonal needs and her journey. But she was talking today about haters. You know how people in your family might be haters, people in your close circles or were in your close circles. They'll be haters, because haters hate. I like that term, but I like to counterbalance it with that idea that hurt people. And so in that connotation, she was talking about people who were being negative and raining on the parade. And she said the haters. And I thought to myself about that whole idea about, were you in that crowd? About that self-loathing? And so, yeah, I just think that this is a place and a space where you can engage, and the chat doesn't go so fast that your input isn't seen and acted on and commented about, because I think everybody has something that they can add, no matter what the Misfit Island, Lisa. All right. I'll be the Jack in the Box. Okay. No, but it's an amazing thing, and I love this format, and I love what this YouTube technology provides us. And so yeah. So does anybody have anything planned for this week? Like I'm going to be going down to the beach and having a good time at the beach. Well, we're going to leave here Friday and drive part of the way, so I don't have to drive all day Saturday. Hate getting to a destination and being tired. You know what I mean? I'm sure we've all done that, right? Like you're trying to get to Christmas or Thanksgiving. You're trying to do the family thing, and so you pile everybody into the car, and you run to grandma's or mom or dad or whoever you run into, right? And you're running there, and you get there, and it's late at night, and it's already the first day of your vacation. Because if you're like me in the military family, I almost always have lived 8 hours away from anybody, unless I was stationed overseas, and it was 8-hour flight. But you're running to get there. You wake up groggy the next morning. and I would have to take a nap. I always got to take a nap. I like naps. Very much. I like the naps. Yes, I do. So a little siesta time, But yeah, no, I've decided. My wife decided we're retired. We'll leave on Tuesday or we'll leave on Thursday. Maybe we'll vacation and leave on Monday. Vacation somewhere for Wednesday and Thursday, or Tuesday and Wednesday, and start driving back on Thursday. Be back and beat all the crowds. Like if we want to go up to Gatlinburg. People around here love them some Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and some Dollywood, and going to horse shows and the Hatfields and McCoys. Not my gig, but anyway, so we're not beating ourselves up anymore. We don't have to. And Lucia, now that you're retired, you'll be able to enjoy the very same thing, right? See, God loves misfits. That's right. That's why we have my wood product. You remember my wood product? I read so much, I do know him, but okay. So Dr. Shankoff so when I was in the legislature, the preschool people came to me to approach me on issue for preschool. They brought up this gentleman, and I started watching it. And hey, I'm going to add Becky. Hello, Becky.
Hey, how's everybody?
We're good. We're good. I'm glad you popped in here. Day 100, right?
102.
102. Okay, well, I remember 100. But I was just talking with Lucia about Dr. Shankoff and how Dr. Shankoff, he had done a lot of work on pediatric anatomy and physiology of the pediatric brain, and how on the brain and on the nerves, or the brain buds, that he had to use like an electron microscope, practically with high magnification.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen Brussels sprouts, how they grow?
No.
Brussels sprouts, they look like little cabbages,
buds,
right? Little cabbages. Yeah. Well, they grow on a really thick, long stalk, kind of like a really thick broomstick.
Okay.
And those are the little florets. And they hack that off, and then you take off the little florets, and that's that. Well, in the human brain, those represent your brain cells and parts of them, and those little buds, it turns out, at age 36 months, on average, bell curve, okay, on 36 months, for some reason, those brain buds start to slough off. They fall away. They're gone, right? Not all of them, just some of them. And he was perplexed by this. So he did a lot of studies, which means obviously these are deceased brains, right? And what they found out is that in socially economic, depressed, and or violent conditions, more of those brain buds came off. So then they did more research, and what they came up with is when a child is in a nurturing, safe, and engaging environment, more of those brain buds stay on. So some neurochemical process is happening that tells the brain, maintain these things. Others that go away, like inner city children and stuff. So imagine, I came up with an analogy, because if I don't have analogies, then I don't grasp. So I came up with an analogy that they verified, and basically it says you come home with your brand new supercomputer, and then what you do is you reach in and you pull out some memory modules, and then you try to load Windows 11 on it. So the next analogy I had was, remember when we were preteens or just brand new teenagers? Do you all remember that?
Yes, not fondly.
Right. Well, what I remember about it being really frustrating because I wanted my parents to know that I knew how to do it. I was capable. I know these things. Why don't you let me do these things,
Mhm.
right? And I was so frustrated I didn't have the permission and no one allowed. So now take that same feeling. Imagine you're a 30-year-old person trying to get a job and you just can't grasp what's in front of you
Mm.
and how angry you'd be.
Right?
Think about a person's brain says, I know that I cannot understand this thing.
Or a kid in school trying to pick up reading and can't do it.
Exactly.
Or,
So,
s-
yeah,
yeah, just the capacity's not there because the development didn't happen
exactly.
or
So,
didn't
what was
stay.
interesting was I was like, I don't want to spend any more money on public education because there's billions of dollars that go there, right? But when they showed me the science, I said, wait a minute, if this starts at 36 months, we're way behind before they get to school.
Mhm. Yeah.
So what do we do? So I was working with people, but Dr. Shankoff came through in that, and that's what led to this conversation, this little rabbit hole, and the whole idea, talking with Lucia, but just the idea that, and now when we think in keto, right, and keto / carnivore, right, all the sugar that get poured in these kids' brains, Pop-Tart
Uh,
breakfast, toast breakfast, a frosted cereal breakfast, followed with orange juice, followed with the bagel, with a candy bar with chocolate they call a granola bar.
mhm.
And we wonder why they're having so many behavioral issues and slow learning and blah, 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 blah on that. We all know this.
It's horrible. I work in our church nursery and, the 15 minutes after they have their goldfish crackers, they're bouncing off the walls.
And then 25 minutes later, or 35 minutes later, right before
They're
mom and dad come to get them,
pretty upset.
they're hangry,
Mhm.
or they're
Mhm.
crashing,
They're
they're
very
cranky.
cranky. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What
a
I
this.
think about it all the time. What have we done? What have we done? I mean, I don't know about you, but I grew up on white bread, margarine, Kool-Aid at every meal, for dinners, not good.
I, well,
Captain Crunch, you know,
we did
and
not
that
grow
was
up
in
with.
the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, I did not grow up with that. Sam, I am.
Yeah.
I grew up. I grew up. Um, not poor, but definitely we free and reduced lunches were in my future, but my father
Mm,
refused to sign for those. Um, but mom cooked all the meals, and all the meals started with regular fats and regular meats, and dad would buy half a cow
mm,
every 6 months or so, and so that was regular, and we did not have store-bought sweets. My mom was a tremendous cook and a tremendous baker, right? So we had that, but I think a big difference, we didn't have the seed oils. We didn't have sugar at every meal. We had Kool-Aid in the house, but we
Your
didn't. We
mom
had a
didn't
lot.
use Crisco? I thought everybody used Crisco.
She
No?
used some Crisco. She used some
Yeah.
Crisco,
That's
sure.
seed oil.
Oh, no, 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 but it wasn't the
Vegetable.
only one she used, right?
Yeah,
My dad
yeah.
was big on olive oils and stuff. But
Oh,
I think that,
really?
oh yeah, but I think the dealio for us was mom and dad. So dad's idea was children were to be seen and not heard,
Hmm.
and mom thing was children were were problematic. I did not know my mom was an alcoholic at that time,
Mm-mm.
right? So what we did is we left the house as soon as we could, and we didn't come back till we knew we might get whooped, right? And we were running all day out in the Texas sun,
Mm.
you know, and we did sports and we did stuff. So I was skinny as a rail through high school.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a fat kid
Yeah.
at
So
all.
maybe what it is kind of like if we take the idea we talk about Dr. Paul Saladino. If you're like were you in marching band or something like that, or did you do a high school activity?
No.
No, just
Mm-mm.
active.
No.
Well, I just know that if you're really active, like my wife was a tomboy, she was really
Didn't
active,
eat.
right? What's that?
Yeah. In high school? No, dieting. Girls dieted when I was
Well,
It was
all I can
bad.
say is that we were by being so active. I think if your level of activity is high enough, you can overcome some of these bad things. But I think there's probably a higher degree of like I don't think there's other than Karo syrup. I don't know if we had a lot of high fructose corn syrup available in the American diet before 1975.
No, we drank a lot of pop in my house, but
Oh, did
just
you?
yeah. I think about my growing up. My dad was dirt poor, grew up on a Illinois farm, that wasn't successful, just his dad not wanting to work for anybody else. And I think when he got his first real job and started making money, and my mom was a city girl, town girl, I think they love to indulge in all of that stuff, you know. Food, I mean,
Yeah,
in our house, food was the reward. Like, "Oh, you got whoever got the best grades got to pick where we were going out to dinner." So
right,
we did a
right,
lot of
right.
that,
Well, I know that
eating.
when I was growing up, we didn't have those sweets, but when my dad retired from the military, got a good government contract job, got his engineering degree and a business degree, right? All of a sudden, he was falling over money, relatively
Mm,
speaking, to what he had before. And they would carry, he'd come home and he'd have cases of 2 liter bottles of Coca Cola, pizzas every Friday night, big pizza
mhm,
from the Shakey's or whatever, you know what I mean?
mhm.
And I think that's where the part of the problem started. But we also had a lot of alcohol in my house all the time.
Yeah. That we
And
did not have.
yeah, we had lots of alcohol, and I was a problem drinker in high school. I was a closet drinker, mind you, because I get in trouble. But after that, but I think I mentioned before, I had no internal discipline growing up because I had so much external.
Yeah.
My whole internal life was fantasy, trying to get away from that,
Yeah, get
right?
away from yeah.
Then when I got to be an adult, guess what? Problems.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
I was just always trying to fly under the radar just because I grew up with I had an older brother and a disabled sister, older sister. And,
Okay.
that was pretty much my mom's main focus.
Sure.
So I just tried to, and she was never happy. So I was just always trying to stay under the radar. And my parents got divorced in high school, you know. But
Oh,
all along, like sugar was, somebody mentioned the other in another stream that they used to eat the brown sugar out of the
oh yeah.
box. I
Oh
did
yeah.
that. I I I ate my Flintstone vitamins in multiple like, so bad.
I had such a hard time resisting sweet that in 1972 I got into my mom's one-a-day pills. I don't know if they're iron pills or what
Mm,
they were,
yeah,
but they're little red
multivitamin, yep.
pills and they were sugar coated, like candy coated.
Mhm, mhm.
And
I know what you mean.
I took like a third of a bottle. Do you know what happened to me?
Well, there's a lot of
All of a
iron in
sudden,
there.
all of a sudden, I started drooling.
Oh, goodness.
I drooled so much, I'd fill one of those big coffee cans like every 2 hours.
Yes.
And then all night long, I just kept drooling more and more. And my parents were like, maybe you'll get over it. Who knows, right? Of course, I didn't tell them, right? And then eventually, my tongue swelled up so big it didn't fit in my mouth anymore.
Oh my gosh.
And drool was just coming out all the time, right? And I was
I've
in
had
discomfort.
that excessive drooling thing happen, but not the tongue
And they took me
getting
to the
big. Ugh.
doctor, and the doctor said one of two things is going on here. You got a super, super rare disease, or you got into a lot of vitamin pills.
He
And they
knew.
said,
He'd
"Scott, did
seen
you
it
take a bunch
before.
of vitamin pills?" Uh-uh. And I look like a little baby calf, right?
Uh.
It hurt so
Mm,
bad, and I couldn't do anything but drink Jello, hot Jello, like liquefied Jello,
yeah.
and eat ice cream. And I remember the very first thing I ate, and like I said, I watched the Olympics and stuff. The very first thing I ate after all that was my mom's, what we call her Hungarian goulash.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly soft hamburger meat and noodles,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Love that.
I thought I was eating rocks. It hurt
Oh.
so bad,
Oh.
because I was like that for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, but I love the sugar, right?
The
And
sugar.
pouring the Hershey chocolate. Well, before it came in squeeze, but when it was in a can,
Mm-hmm.
I would drink a can of it. You know, right? It's horrific, but it's the idea that they have a name for that. It's a scarcity behavior. Like, I don't know if Lucia's on still or not, but about behaving because I'm afraid I'm not going to get it. Like
Yes.
eating everything in a hurry.
Yes. I yes, I know what you mean. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. This might be the last. It might, I don't know. You know.
Right.
Oh
Right.
boy. Yeah.
Iron toxicity. Yep. Yep. That's right. And they weren't kid vitamins either. They were adult vitamins. And
Mhm.
I way overdid it. And maybe that's why I'm dealing with issues with my liver now. I don't know, but um, what's that? What's going on?
Until we meet again, ate a box of X-Lax at about age 3. Oh,
Oh, so
never did that.
I actually played a dirty trick on my little sister. 1974, 75. She was always bugging me. And she was always my little sister and tag along. And then we had this rolling feud, nothing horrible. Like my older brother, my feud was physical violence. Me and my little sister was never like that. But I got some X-Lax and I shaved off a little bit and I acted like I was eating it. And she
Oh,
wanted something. No, you can't have it. No, you can't have it. I gave it to her, and it was snowing. And we were in Germany at the time, and she didn't make it home after eating all that X-Lax. She did not make it all the way to the home to use the facility. And yeah, so
mean.
when my parents heard about that, I got the whooping. I can't remember the whooping I got. It was a pretty significant whooping, but I earned that. So I get that, meat. I get that.
Oh.
X-Lax, yeah. So what's going on in your world here lately, then, Miss Becky? What's going on for you? I know you were talking about you can tell out of staters because they use umbrellas.
That's true. Yeah. I don't use an umbrella. It didn't rain very much today. It was so I got out on my walk today. I went out for my walk yesterday too, but it wasn't raining. So,
Well, that's good. How far you walk today?
couple miles.
Oh, that's pretty good. Did you see? Did you follow the former? What is it? It used to be Londwar, but now he is got a different name, Carnivore Crusader.
I don't know that one.
Hey, I think he used to go by. I know he went by Londwar Jeremy,
Hmm.
and then he changed his name here lately because he did a. He said it had been suggested he change it from Londwar. I mean, it was like you know it
What's
doesn't
that mean?
it didn't speak of something, right? And so
Right.
he changed it, I think, to Carnivore Crusader. Anyway, he was a big fella. He was in the 400 plus pound, almost 500-pound club. And
Mm-hmm.
this past weekend, he went and did a 5K, and he actually filmed it. And it was a walk, and he was tired, but it was good. So
Yeah.
I think about all of you who can do those long walks, and I thought about maybe I should go try to do a 5K. I said, "You
Okay.
kidding?"
Okay, so last year, my company's a major sponsor of the Alzheimer's Association. So we we sponsored the walks locally, and so I did the walk, and I
Right?
thought it was a 5K, and it was a 5 mile. So that was a
Oh,
little bit longer, but I did it. I still did it. That was back before I gained the weight that I gained back. Anybody who doesn't know this, I had a 6-month relapse, regained 50 pounds of the 80 I had lost. So
um,
now I'm down 25. So
There you go. There you go.
getting there,
But
but
if you've done it before, you're familiar with the territory,
oh, very familiar since
and
2018. So, yeah,
you know the benefits.
mm, absolutely.
So the
Did not
question,
lose all my gains. Let me just say that. I never I lo- I reversed my diabetes. I didn't become diabetic in the 6 months. So good things. you know.
right,
So
right. But
yeah.
you also know the pitfalls, and you also
Hmm.
know. I mean, I take it you kept some type of journal or something to say, hey, these are my danger zones. These are my triggers.
Yes. I actually joined one of Dr. Joan Iflin's um, food addiction processed food addiction recovery programs for a couple months just to get a handle on what were some of those triggers. Why did that happen?
Right?
So so
Is
it's a
there
lot of
anything you
weird
want to
things.
share? Is there a trigger you want to share? Because maybe what's a trigger for you is something close to or very near to exactly what someone else
Yeah.
has.
Well, part of it was a little bit of body dysmorphia, not being able to see what I looked like.
Yes.
I looked pretty good a year ago. Um, then Christmas came and I decided to do something stupid, which was bake sugar cookies for people. That was a bad idea. And I didn't go off the rails in December, but then I saw a picture of myself at Christmas and I was like, well, to me, in my brain, when I saw that picture somebody else took, I felt like I was still the fat girl I had always been, and I just ugh, it's not good. And
Well,
then it's just social things like missing out on, I don't know, stupid things.
well,
But, you know.
I think that first it would be good to show yourself some grace to say it wasn't a stupid thing. Okay. The other thing, it's not the reality of it. The
Yeah.
other thing is that I was talking about earlier. I'm 6'5", so I can carry my weight pretty well. And I got into a sense of false security. People saying, no, no, you're fine, this, that, another, right? But the door behind me, I don't know if you were in earlier, but that's a barn door, you can slide. And what I decided one day is I stood with my back to the door and I brought the door to my belly. And I reached up and I put a little pencil mark. I made it like a caliper for my front to back, you
Oh,
know,
yeah. Mhm.
because I'm always used to seeing myself in the mirror. Okay, that's me.
Mhm.
I look okay. But then when I see pictures of me broadside, I'm like, holy smokes. Or sitting in the front seat of the car, and I get a video. My wife and I do use this app called Marco Polo. So we
Mhm.
send video chats
Videos.
back, about
Yeah.
video text.
Mhm.
And I see I'm sitting in a chair, and I'm like, "Woof, woof, woof, woof." I'm like, holy smoly, what the heck is going on here?
I
That's not
know.
me. Well, yeah, it
I
is.
know. I saw roles that I didn't realize were there, and oh yeah, then during the whole relapse, I saw a picture of myself from the side somebody took of me at a baby shower, and I'm like, "Oh, yikes." That was kind of the trigger to get back on the wagon. But yeah.
Exactly.
Um, Lucio's asking where I live. I live in Oregon.
Yep.
That's why it's the Keto Oregonian.
Yeah. One of the toughest names to say out there in the entire carnivore
I made it
universe,
hard for people.
but it's
Just say
memorable.
keto. Just say keto and then put a V on Oregonian. There you go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the way you do that, that's kind of okay. Sure.
Sure,
Now,
Scott.
what was your again? Tell me again what your livelihood has been before or is now, or
What I do? Oh, I work for a financial advisor as an administrative assistant.
oh, okay, cool. My wife did that. They made her get her insurance license, and
Oh,
then
really?
they wanted her to get her Series 7 or whatever the
Yep.
life. And she told them, bye bye.
I'm not I'm not doing any of the credentialing either. Cause,
But
I'm 60, I'll be 61 next month. I don't know how much longer I'm going to work. So I don't know.
yeah,
Not a long-term thing for me.
I decided to play retirement, and what I basically did is just left the workforce,
Mhm.
and we are sufficiently taken care of from previous planning and military retirement, this, that, and other, and because the two of us, and we kept our we kept our aspirations under control with what we've gone out and got into debt for. So I say I'm retired, but I'm not quote unquote retired, but I'm not
Mhm.
working for anybody now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Graham saying, yes, I've had a realization from pictures that I need to do something. Yeah, the camera can be brutal.
brutal. And that what bothered me so much about the Christmas picture was I had really been working hard. Like I said, I had been walking, I had been really consistent with keto war, and to only really in all of 2022, I only lost 10 pounds. Now I know that I slimmed down a lot composition wise,
Right?
but but it just still seemed like 190 seemed like way too much for somebody who's 5'2" to weigh, you know. Yeah.
Well, I think
So,
if we're honest and we look and we say, okay, maybe I'm not going to weigh 90 or 110, right? But that extra 100 pounds. And one thing I think about is, you know, pick up a 4 stick pack of butter, right? That's one
mhm.
pound generally, right?
Yep.
And my understanding could be incorrect. Maybe Lucia can help me, but the actual volume and construction of butter is very similar to most of our adipose tissue.
Mhm.
A pound of fat, a pound of butter, volume wise, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we're talking about, let's just keep it simple, 50 pounds of butter, right? That's quite a bit. And when you think about it being slathered over every inch of your body, and obviously in some
Mhm.
places more than others,
It's all
you
oh, my before pictures. You can see it. You can see
right.
where it is.
But we don't in our condition. I don't
Mm-mm.
know whether we have a myopic vision or what happens there, but we don't see it. But then, like now, I'm down 30 pounds, give or
Mhm.
take, plus or minus, a day. And I picked up a 25-pound weight, and I said, "Well, this is kind of a little bit heavier." And I was
Mm.
like, "I've lost more than this." Now, when I was younger, a 25-pound weight was like I could throw it, like I could throw,
Right.
paper, right? But now, no, I feel like some people use bags of dog food, right? 40-pound bag,
Yep.
two 40-pound bags of dog food. That's what I'm trying to lose. Sweet
Yeah.
mother of pearl. No
Uh,
wonder
I
this is
I
hard.
I heard once that, like, a a gallon of milk, the volume of it is like 6 pounds of fat. So,
Yeah.
I use that in my brain. I'm like, "Where are these gallons of milk at?" I don't know.
Well, I think
Thank
that's
you,
what
everybody. I see those comments. Yeah, I
I
don't.
think that's what Dr. Sean O'Mara is saying when we talk about visceral fat,
Mhm.
and that if you look
Internal.
at a sphere or a cylinder, the surface of a circle is so much bigger than we think, right? And when we're trying to fill that cavity, I wanted with all this technology we had, because I often thought about body dysmorphic issues, particularly for
Mhm.
people who were anorexic. And
Yeah.
what I wanted to do was find a way to take a 3D representation of a person's body. Now, I'm talking about someone who might be anorexic, okay? But take it and then build it with a 3D printer, right? Or at least put it in a 3D modeling simulation on a computer,
Mm.
but take off the head, right?
Mhm.
So if a person looks at the body, they go, "I look fine," or "I
Mhm.
look horrible."
Mhm.
But if you take off the facial recognition stuff and you would build that 3D and show it to them, they go, "No, that person looks fine."
Uh.
Well, that's you. Or if you give them the real thing, you said, "Oh,
Mhm.
that's way too skinny. That's not right."
Yeah, they
Well,
might be able to go, "Oh, that's not healthy looking," you know? But
And in the
Yeah.
converse side,
Mhm.
that we would do it, and there are weight clinics and places that can do it. They can use it with a couple of PlayStations, right? They can build a 3D graphic image of your body. You know, where you normally don't wear your natural bathing suit, but you wear regular
Right.
clothing,
Swimsuit or
and you get
something.
that taken care of, and then you can, and if they do it right, and with the technology, you can actually do the measurements because you have no, like when they do green screen stuff with people, they put you in
Mhm.
that little suit with all the pieces, but it couldn't be a lycra suit, right? But then you could really see where the delta is. Like for me, I've noticed in my back here,
Mhm.
um, from my lower rib cage to my hip, I'm really seeing some serious shrink wrappage. And then there's the big thing of fat. But I have to understand that the body works the way the body
That's
chooses to work, and it's going
that's
to
it.
metabolize the fat. And I'm going to have to do this for like years.
Mhm. You know,
Ah.
I heard Kelly Hogan talking about, that she wished she had when she started sharing her story, she wished she had been more clear that she didn't lose all the weight that she lost in a few months. It took her 4 years or 5 almost to get to where she is now, what she looks like now. So, she went up and down the scale. She had to learn to look um, cut out all the sweet. It took her a long time to get to those places, you know. So,
Got a question for you. Question for you and for our esteemed audience. What do you suppose the role of, how when you go into carnivore, you tend to just not want to eat that many big meals in a day for most people, okay?
mhm.
So some form of accelerated autophagy must be occurring because when you look at Kelly Hogan, you think of other people, and they lose the weight in that nice gradual 2-3 pounds a week, maybe 1 week 1 pound, maybe go for 5 weeks and not lose but 1 pound,
Mm.
and then later you have the whoosh and you go back and forth. I'm wondering about the loose skin phenomenon.
Well, I mean, Laura Spath was a diehard faster and she never had any autophagy, and her doctor told her this skin is not going anywhere. So she had surgery. So I don't know. I feel like I'm going to have loose skin, and I don't know that it's going to go away with autophagy, you
Well,
know.
I don't know either. I don't know what I mean. I'm not going to say that maybe there's some epigenetic effects that have been overwhelmed, maybe, and they're not going to work the way they would have worked when we were 30.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember Kelly was pretty young when she started all this. She started her carnivore way of life before she even had kids, so, you know. So,
Ah, well,
yeah.
I guess we get to the point. Like I always made remarks when I was stationed overseas. Um, a lot of the senior ladies in the German villages, they were they were women of significant mass.
Zoftig.
Yes, and they, but they were buck wild strong.
Mm.
I remember this one lady, I saw her almost every morning as I drove off to work, and she would be pushing the wheelbarrow of manure, and she was about 4'10", and the wheelbarrow was full to about 4'10", and she'd have her
Mhm.
smock on, and she'd have her
Boots,
shoes clogs on.
clogs. Mm.
She'd be leaned forward, and she'd be leaned into it and pushing that thing uphill practically at times over
Mm.
cobblestone, and she had to be no less than 85 years old.
Yeah. Huh.
Now, she was not going to be up on any pinup calendar, right? And I don't think she cared. But
Mhm.
that manure was fresh and it was huge. I mean, it had to be 100 pounds. And she's pushing this uphill. I don't care that she was using a wheel, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And other people I knew, they were just incredible. And their skin never tore. you know, but they weren't worried about,
Well,
oh, I'm eating
she's
fat in my diet.
yeah, no, they're just you're used to doing that. I mean, the body will accommodate you and keep you going.
Yeah, but I think there's a
It's
problem in our society with all this, um, what I believe be overprescription of the statin drugs.
well, yes, I agree with that.
Well, so what
They
is a
tried to
statin?
put my teenager on one in,
Right.
2006.
Yeah. So what is a statin drug? What is a statin drug purported to do?
Yeah, supposedly lower LDL.
Well,
That's
so it interferes with
Mhm,
the body's fat metabolism. Now, cholesterol, what is
which we need.
LDL, HDL, all the
Mm,
DL, the LDL, right?
mhm.
Cholesterol is what the backbone for 50% of your hormones. Cholesterol is 70% of your brain. The myelin coating on your nerves is cholesterol. Subcutaneous fat is cholesterol, right?
Mhm.
So now we've interfered with the process of how the body deals with cholesterol. Remember that diet drug, Alia, Ali, Ally?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the explosive
Yes.
projectile
Mm. Oh,
gastrointestinal
the
issues.
Olestra
Yeah.
fat product, yeah, that they put in chips and things, yeah.
Okay. So now we get to the people. I've got friends of mine who are on like two different types of statins, and their bodies are ripped. I mean, oh my gosh, they look like they're shooting steroids and doing bodybuilding, right? They have no subcutaneous fat.
Oh, goodness.
What's
I didn't
the
stay on them that long. My anxiety went off the charts, and that only makes sense because, of course, it's messing up with your brain, you know?
right? Which is made out of
Cholesterol,
fat. So
fat.
so now we wonder all these people when they go by and they don't eat fat in their diet and then they're taking drugs to make. Because I remember watching older ladies, particularly older ladies. They have old men too, but mainly older ladies, right? I'm watching one lady. She walked by a bicycle and the handlebar, the brake, which had a little round, aluminum edge on it. She hit her arm and she tore her arm from here to here. The skin just peeled off like crepe paper.
Mm,
Well, you're not getting the things you need. If you don't eat the connective tissue like a soup bone, and you don't eat the bone broth that naturally come from putting a roast in a slow cooker or a pan,
mhm.
and you're so anti-fat that you also not only not get the fat, but you're not getting the collagen, and that's just a horrible way to live. Fragile bones, fragile skin, uh, osteopenia with the muscles wasting away, and all these things happen because someone want to demonize fat
Yep.
when areas maybe you won't look like a pinup calendar. I got that. But you're not get beat up by a countertop.
Yep. My church, the population is quite elderly, and I just when I started going there, it was in 2016, and it was 2018 when I started keto. I just really just felt like I do not want to be where they are when I'm only 80, like, or 70, like some of the 70-year-olds were falling apart. Like,
Right.
nope, yeah,
Well, my dad is 88, going to be 89. And other than he's fallen off on the mental acuity and he has some osteoarthritis type things. But he's still going pretty doggone strong, and his voice is strong. And I don't want to I don't want him to pop me in the mouth because it'll hurt.
oh, my
So
dad could hurt you.
so now until we meet again, says I will most likely have loose skin, but hopefully will be combined with no pain in the hips and back and no gut issues. I think that's where we get to. I think we get to a practical status in our lives where
Mhm,
we sit there and say, you know what, the trade-offs are worth it because really, honestly, like it's like going to a high school reunion. You go back at the 5 year mark, which I didn't do, and all you're doing is people are comparing about jobs and education. You go back at 10-year mark, all you're doing is comparing kids, number of kids,
Kids.
husbands and wives, right?
Yep.
You go back at 20 years, you're like comparing maybe grandkids. Somebody's got five grandkids. Somebody just had their first child, right?
Hmm.
You go back to your 35th one, all of a sudden you're like, people who you didn't like before, you're like, hey, how you doing? You still alive? I'm alive.
I know. I just had my
Well,
40th.
yeah. And then you go to your 40th one, you're like,
Oh.
dude, I don't know why we didn't get along before, but we're locked on. We're good. You know what I mean? I think what happens is I heard my wife told me this story. It says, this old man was at a ball game, right? And they were just all talking to each other, like talking to the fans next to him and all that. And someone's like, what's the deal? And he goes, look, when I was young, I had to be right down by the field. I had to be in the action. I paid a lot of money for those seats. I was in the action. It was very emotional.
Mhm.
And as you get older, each year you go further and further away from the action, and you realize it was a relationship with the people around you. And then when you get old, you're like, I'm just happy I'm still in the stadium.
Yeah.
Pretty true statement.
Yeah.
So Graham's saying that he thinks I have loose skin, maybe tighter, but it's also a slow process. But well, I'll tell you what, I think the bottom line is most of us would trade loose skin for the ability to go out and walk with our friends and family members,
Hmm.
an ability to help out and pitch in, like what you said at your church, right?
Hmm.
Um, to be able to go work with the bed babies, to go down to the youth ministry, or hey, they're putting up the Christmas tree and doing the Christmas ornament thing. We got to do the shuffle like at my church, which I don't think is it's a good sized church. It's not a huge church in my mind, but it's a good sized church. You know, we put up a big tree. It takes 15 of us guys in our trucks to go down and get all the ornaments. It takes them the better part of a week to get everything set up from the choir
Hmm.
loft all the way around, right?
Yep.
And then I got to say I can't do that because I can't move my shoulder and I can't,
Hmm.
I'm out mowing lawns and replacing things and doing things and it's getting better for me now because I want quality of life.
Yeah. Me
Yeah,
too. That's my why, is to be able to serve better. I need to be able to get up and down off the floor in the nursery. I go to the church, church's youth camp in the
right.
summer, and that's I walk 35 miles in the whole week, according to my Fitbit. You know? And
They,
I just yeah, I wanna be able to keep doing that for a while, you know?
we've actually started a new thing at our church where we bring the camp to our church. It's
Mm,
called Camp in the City,
yeah, that's neat.
and they come out of Texas and I want to say Texas and South Carolina. It could be Texas and Georgia, but what they do is they'll send 30 or 40 camp counselors to our town,
Mhm.
and they bring all the equipment and all these things, and then we house the counselors in our homes. And this way, younger children can go to camp, right?
Mhm.
And they go home at night.
Yeah.
So the cost is lower, the stress is lower, and the kids just have fun with people pouring into their lives. And
I
and we found,
do.
wow, we had a lot more kids participating, and outcomes are really good. And we're like, win-win. We send our teenagers away. They can go to Florida. Go, see you, bye. Right. But I get what you're saying there. Is that this idea of the quality of life becomes uh, more important as we get closer and closer to 60 and 70. You're thinking to yourself,
Mhm.
I just want to be able to do my laundry. I don't want to have to find a new way. Like for a while there, I had to kick things around to find a way to get them to pick them up or ask my wife. You know, and here's one that
Oh,
most
yeah.
people talk about it like, how do I say this discreetly, but basic grooming, like your toenails.
Oop.
You know, for me, being able to reach my feet, problematic. And because my knees don't work well, my hips don't work well, I can't just oh, let me be Buffy the Vampire Slayer aerobics instructor, and my middle name is Gumby, and I can pick my foot up around like this, and then I can start wiggling away at my toenails.
Yeah.
Oh, not
No.
happening.
Nope. I know. I know all the contortions.
What were you saying that you had planned up for the next week or two? Anything big planned for you in the next couple of weeks?
No, well, on the 8th, I'm gonna do a live with Carnivore Backwoods, John.
Sweet.
And other than that, so on the Saturdays I film my hikes and put that up and talk
Right?
about whatever I decide to talk about. So I'll probably go out somewhere in Oregon. There's a nice recreation area that closes, but I'm not sure if it's will be closed. Like the cutoff date was the 30th, but I think it's going to still be open on the 30th. So that's in the Sayusla National Forest. So
Oh,
might
okay.
go there.
I know that one time when I was in the military, I had to go to Medford, Oregon, to Rogue River Valley.
Yep, I lived there for a while. I went to Southern Oregon University in Ashland, so I lived both in Ashland and then one time I lived in Medford. So
Yeah, because you got
worked
like
in Medford.
talent. I think talent's in between there and there. So
Talent
there,
and
right?
Phoenix in between Ashland and Medford. Yep.
And I remember Medford because we went there because there's a manufacturing company that had some really good stuff, and we got how do I say, we were weathered in because we couldn't go anywhere else because they were having severe icing in San Francisco. So
Mm.
this was about 2002 to 2003. And we went to Medford, and it was the most wonderful and beautiful area, And they took great care of us, and we ate some great food, and it was a great place to be stranded for an extra 2 days.
Not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It I My freshman year of college, my dad was living in Kentucky, and so I had to fly from Medford to San Francisco, Dallas to Nashville. And Medford is notorious for getting fogged in the winter.
Yes. Yes.
So we were absolutely fogged in. Now, this was 1980, so
I
don't
remember
freak
it
out
kind
when
of.
I tell this story. But there was a gentleman who worked for the Ford dealership, and he said, anybody who needs to get to San Francisco, I'm just going to go get a car and we're going to drive down. So I got in a car with a stranger I was just had turned 18 and I made it to my flight on time though.
Well, that's great. I remember one time I was flying into Denver, and Denver had snowstorms and something going on. And I was at a payphone, so you know how long ago this was. I'm at a
Yes.
payphone, and I'm letting my folks know. I'd come home on a military TDY. I'm on vacation. I'm going back, or something like that. And and a girl on a phone, two phones down, she was just crying on the phone. And okay, I'll admit she wasn't ugly. Okay, and she cried on the phone, and her dilemma was she didn't have any cash. And she's going to have to stay overnight in this airport or whatever. And she had no idea
Mhm.
how to figure it. And she wasn't from the United States.
Oh no.
And she had to go up to she had to go up to Moscow, Idaho. And I was a young military guy. When I heard Moscow, I was like,
Oh yeah.
anyway. So after she got off the phone, and you could just tell she was so distraught, I went up to her and I said, "Look, I understand you got a challenge. Here's what I want to do for you. I want to give you $60 so you can go get a room." And she was just beside herself. And I gave her the money. She said, "Oh, no, I can't take the money without getting your name and your address." I said, "Okay." I gave her my parents' address, right?
Mhm.
So we ended up going our separate ways. And she ended up on the same shuttle bus, going to the same
Same
hotel,
hotel.
and eating at the same place because everybody kind of caught off guard by the snow. And when I went to my room, like, they got two queen beds. We could have just stayed in the same room. I understand why not, but you know what I
No.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But it did cross my mind. And so anyway, the long and short of the whole thing was that it went away. She went her way, I went mine. Right?
Mhm.
She went to Idaho and I went to Germany. 3 or 4 months later, I get a letter from my parents, and in that letter from my parents was a card from her
Aw.
with the stamp from Moscow, Idaho, but no address, right? And then
Mhm.
it was some money and a nice thank you, right?
Yep.
Now here I am, 40 years later, still in my head,
Thinking
you
about
know.
that. Yep.
Thinking about you being stranded and doing the car
Mhm.
thing, I'm thinking to myself, well, there you go. There's the same type of situation. Sometimes you do that leap of faith and you have faith that it's going to
Yep.
work out.
Yep. I didn't know any better, but it was fine. I wasn't the only person that went with him, so
Oh yeah, yeah,
it
yeah. It
was
wasn't
all
like
right.
you're getting in a strange car by
Yep.
yourself, but
Yep.
riding in cars with boys. Wasn't that a movie?
Yep.
Well, I didn't ever watch it, but I know
Me
my
neither.
wife did. I thought it was, intuitively obvious. But the problem, having been a young man myself at one point in time, that was all I can
I
say about that.
remember you young boys.
Well, I was never young, and I was never in the cool kid category, so that was never an issue. So, but with all that being said, I have been pushing this for about 2 hours,
You have, yes.
and I think that what I ought to do is give everybody else an opportunity to find whatever they're doing. I know it's relatively early for you yet. Are let's see, it's almost
It's almost
midnight.
10.
Yeah, relatively early, but I got to tell you honestly, Becky, I really appreciate you coming on here.
I wanted to. I was watching The Voice though, so I had to finish watching that before I could hop on.
That's a great show, isn't
I
it?
love The Voice. And Reba's on there this
Oh, is
season.
Reba on there to see?
Yep, she's a judge, so yeah.
Man, I tell you what, I always wanted to be able to sing well, right? But I've got hearing aids now, and I think it's indicative that I never heard things correctly. I have a face for radio, you know, and I got a voice for print. So,
Eh,
but hey, I like to be in the joyful noise part of the choir. But after COVID, we lost our choir, so
yep.
we just have a praise and worship team. That's all we have anymore.
Yeah, I know. Every once in a while a choir gets up there now, but it's not like the way it used to be. No.
I know it's so disturbing, because we just reading. We do the. I'm doing a Bible study where we read the chronological Bible,
Oh, yes. Mhm.
and I have another channel that I read. I read this every day. So I open up, pray, read, pray, close it up, and I'm not doing it to for any other purpose on YouTube than to be an accountability tool.
Mhm.
So it's not like I'm trying to grow a channel or anything like that,
You're
right?
just to make yourself read. Yeah, got it.
Right, right. And it's been a wonderful blessing. And just today, on the 24th of this month, we hit the New Testament. And today's reading was when John the Baptist baptizes Jesus in the
Mhm.
Jordan,
Mhm.
and the heavens opened up, and the heavenly hosts sang. And I wish we could have that in our churches again like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, the way I look at it is none of this is a surprise. None of this is
Mm.
unforetold.
No.
So,
Everything is not falling apart, it's falling into place.
great term. I'm gonna
I just
steal that.
well, I didn't coin it, but I hear it around I'm pretty big into listening to people who talk about eschatology, so there's a few
Oh,
people that say
that
that.
that that's a word that I can't conjugate, so I'm not allowed to use it in a sentence. But
Eschatology? I would think that would roll right off your tongue.
it could, I guess, if I gave it a real good go. But anyhow, and I see what you're saying there, Graham. We're talking about choir, alto, well, it'd probably a bass, and then you'd have yourself a tenor, bass, tenor, alto, sopranos. And you can probably have mezzo sopranos and all the other sopranos, right? First, second bass, but that's it. And the people group who came up with this, or who are told, or said that uh, four-part music was attributed to? The
Um,
Welsh.
that's neat. That's my
Uh,
maiden name, Welch.
that's cool. Well, my great grandfather came over on a boat in the early 1900s, like 1901, 1902, 1904, and he was in a Welsh men's singing group called the
Mhm.
Gwent Men Singing. And then after being here a number of times in Denver, Dallas, he actually sang in the White House and stuff like that.
Wow.
Um, when he got his family and they moved from Wales over to Pennsylvania, and then my grandmother's family came from Slovakia, so my father is first generation American. I'm second generation, but I guess the real issue is those genes must skip generations because
Yeah.
not me. I love to sing. I'll sing in any key at any time for any reason, but I can't stay in the key to save my life.
I love to sing too, but nobody would want me in the choir. No, for sure. And you know, the funny thing is my kids are all musical,
Yeah.
but yeah, my daughter was in the NYU women's choir. She did musical theater all through high school, and my oldest son is actually a hip hop producer. So he
Okay.
he does all the digital beats, you know.
Oh, that's cool. I want to learn to do that. I actually got a couple programs on my computer. I'm trying to learn that stuff. But
He
I
uses
sang.
Serato.
I did musical theater,
Mhm.
and I did regular theater and summer stock theater, and of course, I mostly know I did some movies and some things like that. And I sing in the choir. So I'm a bass, obviously. I'm not ever going to be a tenor, but it turns out when the truth be told is I sing loud, but I don't sing really well. So um, it
Not
is what it
not
is, you
not
know.
gonna have your single album come out soon here.
Not ever. No,
No,
no, no.
no.
I no, not going to happen. But and that's okay. It's not. I don't have to have it. But I do like to sing, and my wife says sometimes
Mhm,
I
me
sing
too.
okay, but I realize she may have a jaundiced ear because of that. Yeah, great big pipe organs. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
remember those?
So barbershop, no, because I can't hold a tune and I don't have timing. So real
Mm.
important. If you can't hold a pitch, if you can't find a pitch and you don't have any timing, you're basically a schlepper. And now so when we talk about spiritual gifts, my spiritual gift is lifting things and moving them. And what is Graham said, I used to be a tenor in a choir, later life lead singer, worship. All right, that's awesome. I
I'll
have
tell you
met
what
the
my
enemy.
spiritual gift is not. It's not working in the kitchen at church. You know how all those women work in the kitchen and they do all that stuff and they make all those beautiful tables and stuff for potlucks. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, but see, that's where you talk about the gift of service. And now
Yep. Different service.
you
Children.
work in the
Work
children's
with kids.
area,
Mhm.
right?
Yep. And I lead
That's
a
a different,
women's Bible study. Yep.
yeah. So see, that's a different service. I think that we have to,
Totally different.
yeah, it's all good. But I think Susan was a singer also, Graham. I don't know if Susan's not in here tonight, but normally she's in here. She
I love the cheese
was
comment.
really actively in church music and going around and singing and doing things like that. No, my service is quite honestly, and I'm not embarrassed or ashamed, but mine is service. But my service is schlepping. I schlep and I integrate groups together, right? But I don't have a whole lot of other um, what I would now everybody can do something, and a lot of people you can work in a
That's
lot of
right.
different areas, but
Mhm.
that doesn't make it a quote unquote a gift, you know. And so there we are. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna hit a few more of these comments. Why? Well, I don't know here, but you know it's hard to sing on demand, and especially if you're gonna do it a cappella. Like, have you all heard Russ speak from
Yes.
Buckeye?
Mhm. He can sing and he can make up songs on the spot.
Yeah.
Change the words. That's a great that's a great gift.
That's a
Not a
mind
spiritual
that's
gift.
never been wholly inundated in alcohol too, because he has that mental acuity to be spot on, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
but I will tell you what, I've been picking up tidbits of information that have been locked in my head. I'm like, where did that come from? I actually got that one. Well, my wife was concerned. I actually went to go see the mental health people at at the VA because I lost a couple hours one day. I actually lost well, I was in a lot of stress and I lost my timeline.
Mm.
I mean, I didn't lose it a little bit. If you've ever had vertigo, but now you put on your timeline, I've had vertigo. I had non-specific vertigo, just the crystals had to be
The
realigned.
crystals. Yeah, I've had that. Yep.
But I lost my timeline and I
Mm.
was freaking out. And so I had to go get my hearing aids adjusted. And in my hearing aid appointment, I was talking to the doc about it, and he said, "Would you like to go talk to a professional?" I was like, "Will it make me better?" Yes. So we went. We talked to the professionals late in the day, but the VA's been doing a lot better with us veterans, you know. And we talked, and we kind of figured it was a stress that was kind of the issue, and it was. But the whole idea is that it's no fun to be in a position where you don't know where you fit, you know. And 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 so anyway, long story is I lost my point on all that and
Mm.
going into that little bit of the story, but but all in all is just this idea that people have gifts, and when you know what your gifts are and you stick with your gifts, it's okay. And if you don't have it, it's okay not to have one.
And you know what? My carb addiction kept me from acting on what I knew my gifts were,
No,
right?
and yeah, and I
And
think that's where I was going.
that's the freedom that I've gotten through going this way. I love this.
Yeah, I actually thank you, Becky, because that's exactly where I was going.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
my sugar-filled amyloid polluted brain, right?
Mhm.
What
Crusted. Yeah.
was not able to function under some stress.
Yep,
And
I
my
couldn't.
okay, my wife was very worried because I was having episodes of like pointing to a body part, going, "What is this?" Or the people I knew really well, I did not have command of their names at all. I mean, I have to say,
Mm,
uh, put my hand up. The lady with a patch over her eye, you know, those types of things. I could not get
wow.
from here to there. I'm not having that problem nearly as bad, even to the point where she noticed it. And so that was a big episode happened with stress, but we had been noticing and thinking, now I've had a lot of TBIs, traumatic brain injuries,
Mhm.
military service wise. And so we know that um, there's a future for me that holds Alzheimer's maybe and other neurological disorders. So now with this,
Is that
I still have
inevitable now?
what?
I'm like, is that really inevitable now if you keep
No,
carnivore? I don't
no,
think so.
because we don't know what long-term
Mhm.
brain feed on ketones is like, you know, or
Mhm.
the lack of all the other crud, right?
Right.
So, no, it is not written. And then I mentioned it in the last thing. I was going to try to talk tonight a little bit about some pretty woo-woo stuff. I wanted to talk about quantum entanglement and superposition, but
Well, I will just let Wesley Crusher come on then.
no. It's not that big a deal, but it's
Sheldon
the
Cooper
idea
or
that
somebody.
well, it's the idea that you know there's Newtonian physics and Einsteinian type physics, and it keeps moving. You know, it used to be a time when no one washed their hands when they left the morgue and went and delivered babies,
Yep.
and so
Yep.
science and technology and all this stuff changes, and it doesn't mean that it's terrible or bad or not understandable, right? It's just this
No,
idea that
they just get different understanding as they learn, right?
right, and now we've got this whole thing of Do we know what did Dr. Barry say? Do we know what a healthy 60-year-old is supposed to look like on a proper human diet?
We don't know anymore because we don't see them. So yeah, until
Well, I
that's
think we're starting to look at one right there.
well,
So with that, like you said, does it mean I have to say my life is doomed to um, whatever Parkinson's is? Parkinson's is? I don't think so. I like to read that with bypass saying there.
yeah.
For there's nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. And as to things hidden from society versus carnivore,
Well,
I
let's
think it's broad.
yeah, I mean, there's huge deception, and that's a characteristic of the last days, right?
That's right. Yes.
So, but I mean, to who- I mean, why would this this carnivore movement isn't just a Christian movement, but there sure are a lot of Christians in it, but it's like, why is that being revealed in this time? I don't know. Some 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 aspect of holding to truth, you know, that we're seeing all these different layers in society where there's deception, and so there's some group out here trying to say, "No, this is the truth." Like, you've got so many so maybe it's just, you know, the Lord just trying to keep truth in front of people. I don't know, but
Well,
he will,
if you think it from an Old Testament point of view, right, where where deception would creep into the lives of the Israelites, and they would go off on an area, and you don't have to read very far in any one book of the Old Testament to find somebody leading people astray,
yeah, yeah,
and then those not only does the person leading astray pay a consequence, but the people who blindly followed,
yeah,
right?
mhm,
And so when you read that enough times, I'll be honest with you, when I was doing this whole year doing this chronological Bible, I wanted to make a little fan card, like a little card on a popsicle stick, and go, "Here's your sign.
mm,
Here we go again."
yeah, yeah,
And
but
and so
even
now,
but as that group is being led astray, and just like I'm thinking of Elijah, he thought he was the only one, but, the Lord said there's still, what, 7,000 or something like that, that had not bowed their knee, right? So,
mhm.
it's that you think you're alone in what you know, like, when you first start something, like, when I learned about low carb and carnivore, it was 1996, I felt alone, and there's nobody doing it, right? It wasn't until the 2010s that I learned it was really a thing and people really do it, and, you know,
Well,
so
I think we get very myopic, or as we like to say in my church, pastors say, inward eyeballs.
yeah, yeah,
And inward eyeballs mean you're going to be justifying what you see and feel and everything inside you. You're very me centric, and then
yeah,
when you can flip your eyesight out and you look at the cross and you look at others, right? And
mhm,
then when you read the Beatitudes, and the Beatitudes say uh, uh, those who are weak in spirit, right? That means is that you're empty of your
mm,
own stuff. That you have nothing you can bring to the fight, right? So you really want to be that. You want to be selfless, right, and focused
mhm,
outward, so you can have the infilling of everything that God has to offer. But somewhere along the line, we've gotten so inward focused and so me centric. I call it. We become hyper. Oh, what is the term I use? Individualistic. We've become a hyper individualist society. I want
yep,
what I want, and we get all um, like a frayed rope. And what we don't realize is we were made to be together.
yeah,
And being together is not inherently wrong or evil or bad, and that we're stronger where the three chords is not easily broken, right? But we end up letting the world tell us no. Be who you want to be what you want. What you want is good. And what does that really do? That's the one of the 99 when you get isolated off.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyways, I think that's what's amazing about this carnivore community. And until meet again was saying there about um, uh, the Lord leading people, I think what you're saying too is we're coming to a point where the scales are falling off our eyes.
Hmm.
We're actually paying attention to the people around us and thinking, going, how can this, I don't want to get in trouble, but how can this frosted flake stuff be good?
Hmm. Right.
How can
Like
this 42 bagels a day be good?
just shaking your head. No, that ain't right. you know, it's just,
Right.
yeah. And it's just, yeah, I agree with her that the Lord led me to it too. And, I just didn't obey like I should have. But it was really hard when you're butting up against the whole culture telling you to do something else.
Yeah. And I like what Lucia is saying about cherry picking verses and
Yeah.
being, it's very, you got to be really careful. And I agree with you. And I think that's when I was listening to someone talk about it before, and a pastor, I want to say, maybe on a radio station, but what he said was amazing. He said about how before a person confesses and repents and becomes a believer, right? We will extend an extraordinary amount of grace toward that person. But as soon as someone says they're a believer, we all go, we basically, not everybody all the time, but there's a real big focus on the law. All of a sudden, we're very legalistic and, the whole, are you doing this, you doing that, and all this. And
Mm.
I think that that really struck a chord in me because when we go and we try to learn and we're working and we're developing and maturing as believers, we should learn that we're only supposed to have any kind of rebuke toward believers, not rebuking non-believers. And you're supposed, there's a very prescribed process for that, right?
Hmm.
And then we're given many warnings about, planks and splinters and stuff like that, right?
What's in your eye? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
in considering all that, it is in my book, it is an effort fraught with peril to go into anything on that with any type of casual relationships or online or otherwise, because we just don't know where a person is, right? And even like my wife and I, we've been married 32 years. We're pretty close,
I would hope.
but that doesn't make us perfectly close. And so even there's a very and she reminds me of this often, mind you. It's not a good thing to assume you understand what's going on in someone's heart or their mind or their lives, even when you're that close to them. And so if I can't do that with someone I've known for 32 years, I can't do it with much of anybody.
Hmm.
And I tell people all the time, I'm more worried about what I'm learning. I mean, we're doing a study now in Revelation. I say, yeah, okay, I'll do the study. You guys want to do it because I'm part of an accountability group. You want to do it? I'll do it. But I got to be honest with you, I haven't gotten close to mastering Matthew, Luke, Mark, and John. I don't have the epistles down yet. When Paul talks about, I know what to do and I do it not, right? I haven't got that really well understood. I'm still making daily prayers about holding my tongue,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
I'm way too busy doing that to be doing anything else.
I hear you.
So, well, God, yeah, I knew that's a funny thing. What does it say about where two or more are gathered, right? Who's among us, right?
Yep.
Is
He
that
is with
not
us.
absolutely awesome? Y'all didn't know you come to church tonight, did you?
I should practice my lesson. We're doing Sermon on the Mount right now in my
Same
small
here.
group. That's what I'm teaching.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, those Beatitudes,
Yep.
they're quite something when you talk about the emphatic pronouns,
Hmm.
they and they only, right? See, and I think we just finished the Pure of Heart, right?
Mm,
And that whole thing about the refiner's fire, taking the dross off, but
mm-hmm.
it's they and they alone, and a lot of people miss that, and so
Yeah.
it's been quite a gut punch when you think about what meek means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't get that. I know I didn't. I was a horrible person because I was so hung up about that whole meekness and turning the cheek.
Yeah, you think it means being a doormat, but that's not what it means.
It's being so strong, like unbelievably strong, because you're able to control and hold back that power and everything like
Like
that.
a horse. It's like a horse that's
Exactly.
under rein.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, when you're a young
I
man,
see
particularly
him.
a young,
You know, I see a horse. You know.
well, when you're a young man, I don't know what it's like to be a young woman and thinking about power struggles and stuff like that and self-image. So, and then when you're almost 6.5 feet tall, 250 pounds, it's pretty easy to get wrapped up in what power means
Mm,
and wrapped up improperly, right?
mm-hmm.
And not realizing how much how much effort it takes to restrain from slapping the stupid out of an 18-year-old young man, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
My
really tough.
my husband is a big guy too, and the little guys just had to come at him. But he was the I could hurt you and I'm not going to, you know?
Right, but then think about it from the point of view of when we get out of physicality and we
Mm,
start to talk about when a new believer or a child or a new employee, I don't care where the newness comes from,
mm,
when you plant a seed, you dig the little hole. Maybe you've taken care of the ground. You dig the little hole and you put the seed in and you push the dirt and you water it and you tamp it a little bit, right? But you don't go and you step on it every day,
no.
right? You have to let it
And you
do
don't
its
and you don't dig the dirt up to see how it's doing.
right. So, but we get caught up sometimes in our overzealous desire to be productive, right? And we end up causing so much damage. And then you take a young man and you go, "Hey, I thought the power and strength and everything what we're talking about." No, no, no. The ability to restrain yourself and say, "Yes, I could do this, but I choose not to." So
Mhm.
when you do the Beatitudes, that's some heavy stuff.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. Well, I
Hey,
appreciate
yes,
doing
yes,
church with y'all.
everybody.
Yeah, we're writing our chapters. Yeah, there you go. And that's the whole thing. That's right there. That's I think, a great line
Yep.
to wrap up and say, and to bid people to do to say, you know what? We are each accountable.
Yep. What are you gonna present? Here's your book you written.
Yeah, there you
Did
go. There you
is it
go.
what the Lord wanted you to do?
I prayed this morning when I closed out. I said, I pray that I'm not a bright, shiny tool that shows no wear marks. That when the Lord calls me, that I am chipped and broken because I was willing to pick up that yoke and be used. I
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm
Here's
gonna get
my
a whole new body, right? I don't want to
let's
be
wear
a
this
pretty tool.
wear these ones out. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes,
In
yes.
service. Yeah.
Well,
And
thank you
get
so
healthy.
much. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you
Yeah,
for
thanks for letting me.
being part of this conversation that ends this way. Yeah, and it's interesting, right? This is going to be on YouTube. People are going to know where we are,
Somebody will
right?
come. Yes.
I'm okay with it.
Me too.
All right.
I just
Everybody,
I just I pray, Lord, just don't let me embarrass you today. That's my prayer every day.
that's right. Isn't that really what most of those prayers from the Old Testament time were? To
Mhm.
you be all the glory. You know, may I
Mhm.
not ever be a stumbling stone. but we're all in his will. And I thank everybody. I thank everybody in the chat.
Yeah. Thanks, Graham. Thanks,
I
Diane.
really
Thanks, Lucy.
bypass and Lucia and everybody else there. I just appreciate you taking the time, and of course you coming in there and championing all the things and listening to me go blah 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 forever and ever. And Graham, you too. You have a great day. I know
Have a
you're coming
great
in.
day, Graham.
You're coming in today, so everybody, God bless. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow because I'm gonna be back on tomorrow night.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye bye.